Welcome to the Trash Station Podcast, your gaming podcast all about weird, unknown, and forgotten video games. I am your host, Chris, here with my co-host, Max. How are you, Max?
I'm doing fine, thanks, Chris. And in our friend circles, we're known to play mostly trashy games. We're talking anime games, retro games you've never heard of, the indie stuff on itch.io, and everything in between.
And as usual, we'll add those games to our tier list we call the Landfill, chat about our creative hobbies, and shout out some of our favorite content creators on the internet. And we have a special guest with us today, a content creator from the internet, Pam from Cannot Be Tamed. How are you doing today, Pam?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining
Yeah,
us.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, always
As
looking forward
usual,
to
we're
talking
gonna
to you.
ask you. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, yeah, you want to give us a little rundown of what you are on the internet.
Sure. So I do a few things on the internet. I have a YouTube channel called Cannot Be Tamed where I talk about, well, basically whatever games I want right now. I talk about a lot of Metroidvanias, a lot of indie games, occasionally bigger games, but I tend towards the slightly less, more or less known stuff. I also stream on Twitch. On Sundays, generally, I stream point and click adventure games, and occasionally I will stream some indie demos and things during the week. And I have a podcast called Point and Drink Adventure that I do with my friend Michelle, where we talk about what we're drinking that evening, as well as any games we've been playing, movies we've been watching, sort of any media we've been consuming.
Cool.
And Pam, what are you drinking this evening?
I'm just drinking water right now. So,
Oh, lame.
mm, sorry.
Max, that's all right. That's all right. Max, what are you drinking? I know you got a nice beer.
I've got a fancy oak in Oak Father's beer.
Oh,
It's a Belgian sour ale. It only
ooh,
costs like $4, and it's extremely tasty. It's like my newest cheap find.
Nice.
nice. I
I'm
like a
drinking
sour.
some. Yeah, sours are they could be really hit and miss for me. Like sometimes they're really really good, and other times they're really not. So
Mm.
I don't know.
It's like
I'm
a
drinking some Johnny
sour
Walker.
brown ale.
Oh, okay. That seems like an interesting mix.
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool.
And Pam, you're saying that on your channel you are mostly talking about like anything right now. Were you more focused in the past, or?
Yeah, when I first started my channel, I was mostly going back to games that I played as a kid. So I was really focusing on NES games. And then I sort of branched out into other retro games. And now I mostly cover modern games, although it depends. Sometimes I still do the occasional, like PS1 or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, I remember first finding your channel when you were doing a lot of the more retro stuff.
Mhm.
So it's always interesting to see how people's interests change on the internet and what kind of content they're making changes. It happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a
It's still
finite.
good.
There's a finite number of games you've played when you were younger.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're a kid, you only have, I think I had maybe like 10 at the most NES games.
Yeah,
And now there's so many other games to play. So,
exactly.
There's an infinite number of games to play at
Mhm.
this point.
Mm-hmm. And I have a
Or
weirdly specific question before
Sure.
we go into our next subject. In the last few episodes, I brought some games that I used to play when I was a kid on the French CBC website. In the kids
Oh.
section, there were a bunch of Flash games there, and they were pretty ubiquitous. Like everyone my age used to play those games. They
Mhm.
were like one of the only websites that were at where you could go on the computer school, computer lab. So my question is, was this a thing in Ontario, or is it some weird French thing?
I've never played any games on the CBC website. We had the computer labs at school and they would have things installed onto them like Oregon Trail and other sort of
Hmm.
educational type games. But no, I don't remember playing any online at school.
That's interesting. I probably that since they needed French games, like the Oregon Trail wasn't in French, and maybe they had to make some new games for our computer lab. So
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, that was my weird question.
Okay.
All right. Well, we had Steam Next Fest just this like past few weeks, and I played several demos, but I have a few that I would like to talk about. And Pam, you said that you have a few that you'll bring as well, but I'm going to start by talking about a game called Olaf the Boozer. This is a Sokoban puzzle game. But instead of pushing blocks, you're like moving over spaces to repair like tables and doors and stuff. And by moving over those blocks, you are blocking yourself off from being able to move over that space again, which is an interesting take on a Sokoban.
Interesting.
It was pretty interesting. The demo didn't save my progress, so I played like 6 levels and then accidentally quit out of it, and then was not able. I would have to start over, and I didn't feel like doing that. So I'll wait for the full release and then probably pick this up.
Cool. That sounds like my
Nice.
jam.
Yeah, I thought so. I bet Top Spot's gonna like it too.
Yeah, for sure.
For some reason, I have this hatred of pushing blocks when
Yeah.
in games. Yeah, so I probably wouldn't like it. For some reason, block pushing puzzles just upset me for some reason. I don't know why they make me so angry.
Yeah, they show up everywhere.
Yeah.
They really do. I played another one called Double Whammy. This is a like 3D hack and slash beat 'em up where you have a guitar but that's all like in a dream sequence, and then once you're done and you beat the boss of a level, you go to a daylight section where it's kind of like Moonlighter, and you're working in this guitar shop and you're like selling guitars and repairing guitars for people, and that's how you make money to be able to purchase new guitars, which are your weapons in the dream sequences. And then it also has a Guitar Hero minigame in it also, which apparently you can just hook up your Guitar Hero guitar to, which
Wow,
yeah,
that's doing quite a lot.
it
That
is
sounds good.
And there are skateboarding sequences.
kind of. So like there are rails, and like you throw the guitar under you and you can slide along the rails. It's an interesting game. It's a little janky, but it says it's a one-man dev team, so I kind of expect it to be a little janky.
Mm-hmm.
It seems good. It's on my wish list. I will keep an eye out for this one.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I like when games just take a bunch of genres and just smash them all together.
Right.
Yeah, as long as there's no boxes.
Exactly.
I played another game called Ninja Brigade featuring John Wintergarden? Weinergarden? I don't know. It's a Metroidvania. You play as a sword guy in a Metroidvania. It seems fine. If you want another one of those, I don't think it's doing anything new, and I don't think it's doing anything very interesting, but it's another one of those if you want one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so John Weingarten is a keyboardist for a group called Pyramaze.
Okay.
So they just licensed some musician for their game.
Okay.
I guess.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's probably some of their music in there too. I've not heard of that band.
Yeah.
So interesting enough. And then I played Shotgun Cop Man, which is a new Devolver Digital published game. And this is a like short level based action platformer where you have a shotgun and a cop, or a shotgun and a handgun. So it's kind of like a twin stick shooter. So I'm playing on keyboard. So left click is your shotgun, right click is your pistol, and you're trying to defeat a bunch of enemies. But the shotgun makes you jump. So if you need to jump over a platform, you need to shoot the shotgun down, and then you can like you have 3 shells on the shotgun, so you can shoot it multiple times while you're in the air to like get a bunch of height, and then use the pistol to like hover in the air. It's really, really fun. Like this game is going to it's Devolver, so like people will know about this game, I'm sure.
Mhm.
This was maybe my favorite demo that I played.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah,
Sam, what
Devolver
did you
always
play?
makes good stuff.
Devolver does usually make good stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm
So
interested.
everything I played, I'm not sure if it was part of Next Fest. I played it during Next Fest, but I think all of the demos are still there. So if people want to check them out,
Cool.
the first one was kind of interesting. It's called Deck of Haunts, and it's basically a haunted house building game. So it really reminded me of one of my favorite tabletop games, Betrayal at on the Hill, where you're like
Mhm.
using tiles to build out the house, but
That's
you
such
are
a good game.
I love that game. um, you've got a heart that you need to protect, and hapless individuals keep wandering into your house. So you either need to kill them or drive them insane before they go. So it's sort of like a deck builder game where every round you get new cards that have different effects on the people or let you build different rooms. You can expand rooms, use resources to build onto your house. And I really loved the concept of it, but I felt like it needed a little more oomph to like make it really interesting to play. So,
Mhm.
but
Okay,
interesting idea.
And
that sounds
is
cool.
it
Yeah.
multiplayer or only single player?
I believe it's only single player.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. But interesting idea. The next one I played is Cairn, which is by the Game Bakers, and this is a rock climbing game. You play a woman who has this desire to climb this very large mountain. And in the beginning, you get to climb a very small mountain. And it's really neat because you can choose your path up the rock wall. So there are some easier paths, there's some different paths with like overhangs and caves, and you have to put your pitons in the wall and manage your rope. And then in between actually climbing, you can stop and put up a tent and eat and sleep and recover your stamina and things in between. And I thought that was really fun. It's a really good balance of realistic climbing, but not so realistic that it's tedious.
Yeah, yeah.
You would like the climbing game.
Yeah.
That's
I do like the climbing game. Yeah, so that one's good. And then the last one, I actually just played this today. It's called Creepy Redneck Dinosaur Mansion. And this is
a
one
That's
of
the
name.
best title. Yeah.
that's a name. This is by Strange Scaffold, who puts out like 3 or 4 games every year somehow, and they do have games with very interesting names. And this is a very meta it's like if you took Resident Evil, so you're going in this house and you're finding locked doors and you're fighting things, except it's also a match 3 game. So anytime you're fighting or doing a challenge, you're doing a match 3 in order to do attacks or pick locks or whatever. And you're getting keys, checking different areas. Like you don't have direct control over your character. It's more of a choice based thing. And you're going through this mansion, and it's got a whole backstory of previous entries in the game which don't exist, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty fun. The writing's really funny, and the music is kind of bonkers. I really liked it.
That sounds like the perfect amount of absurdity for this
Mhm.
kind of game.
Yeah, I really liked it. Hmm.
On my end,
Mhm.
that was your last one, right?
Yeah, last one.
Yeah, good. So on my end, I did play one demo during the week, and it's called Orb Tower, and it's roguelite bust a move, basically. So
Hmm.
you have to beat a certain number of levels, and in each screen, instead of the like balls falling down when they're not hanging with something, they stay in the level. So you have to really manage your balls to remove everything in the level. And between each level, you can use the coins that you got to buy some upgrades, and then you make your build to beat the final boss. And uh, I liked it. I added it to my wish list, so it's fine. But the RNG is a bit brutal. At some points, I would be missing. I would be getting always the same number of colors. I miss one shot, and then it's just spamming that color. And for every block that's still in the level, when you finish your number of balls, then you take that as damage. So sometimes it didn't feel like it was my fault when I was losing. But other than that, I think it's interesting. I love a good puzzle game like that, and I love roguelites. So I think it's going to be interesting enough for me to buy it when it releases.
That's always one of my biggest problems with roguelikes is feeling like losing a run is not my fault. It's the fault of I didn't get things that I needed to be able to complete a run. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that more next episode.
Okay. But yeah, it's a thin balance between having a lot of options and having like dreadful options. You need a good balance.
Right. All right. Well, that sounds great. I think we have some interesting demos, some interesting games coming out. There's always games coming out, and it's fun.
That's mostly why I've not been playing that many demos. I have already so many games to play. Why would I play half-finished games?
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah, I tend to not buy early access games for that reason. Well, for a few reasons, but yeah, I did get a little overwhelmed with the amount of demos I installed on my computer this year.
At least you're streaming them. Like there's an activity behind it. You're just not in your free time playing
That's
demos.
True.
I think I downloaded like 15 or 20 demos, and I've played most of them. There's still a couple that I wanted to get to that haven't gone away yet. So we'll see if those if I end up playing them or not. I don't know. Kind of demoed out at the moment.
Yeah.
But we have like real games to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Max, do you want to go first? Since both of us have the same number of games.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Let's go. I will start with my most controversial game that I did not finish.
All right.
So, basically we did not talk about the theme of the episode, but since this episode releases right after Women's Day, I said that really weird. Sorry, but right after Women's Day, so we're decided to play some games that featured female protagonists. So I went on my phone on the App Store. I have Apple Arcade, so I went on Apple Arcade and I searched for that, and I thought it was pretty interesting because having like this specific of a criteria to play some games made me install games that I would maybe not have installed otherwise, just because I was searching for that specific condition. And the first one that I installed is Gris because I've heard great things about that game. It's a 2D platformer, very atmospheric. It felt a bit like 2D Journey from what I've played. And I did not play much because, well, I'm going to get into it. So in Gris, you play as a girl, Gris, I believe, and she seems to have some kind of trauma. There's a lot of women statues crying in the background, and it feels heavy. All the colors are removed from the world, and the more you play, you do some light puzzle platforming, and the colors come back to the world. You made some interesting characters, like little mushroom people that help you on your way. And I think, at the first boss, maybe near the middle of the game, where you're climbing a tower and there's a raven blowing air at you. And I was playing in the bus because I was playing on my phone. And parenthesis, the phone version works really well. You move with there's a virtual joystick on the left, and you jump by clicking on the right. And since it's not really action heavy, it works just fine. And so I closed my phone, did my work day, and when I opened back my phone on the way back, the game had closed. I reopened it, and I was soft locked under the floor
Oh no.
in the middle of the game. And I was just stuck there. My character wasn't on the screen anymore. It was just walking. She was just walking under the floor.
That's
And
unfortunate.
yeah. So at that point, I had to decide if I was playing that first hour of the game back. And seriously, I was not having fun. I was mostly bored all the time. Like, the visuals are really beautiful, the music is really great, but that does all the heavy lifting. Otherwise, you're just solving light puzzles and walking for like 2 minutes without doing anything. You're just walking to the right, waiting for a very easy jump to the left and activate a button. So I just uninstalled the app. I was not having it. I wasn't feeling like walking through that hour of the game barely playing.
Yeah, that's fair. I think some games are meant to be more atmospheric, and that's definitely one where it's more about the atmosphere and the world rather than gameplay.
Yeah,
So
that's what I realized.
I can see you not liking it because of that. It's unfortunate because that game's really highly regarded. I like that game. I thought it was a good time, but I also played it like after playing some stuff that was pretty heavy and just wanted to
Mhm.
kind of I may have played it like really shortly after finishing The Last of Us 2. So I might have just
Oh,
been in a headspace where
yeah.
I wanted something that was not heavy,
Mhm.
and that was
And
perfect for that.
to be honest, I felt like it was getting better. Like, I got a second, like a power up where you could
Mhm.
like go up when you there's like feathers floating in the air and you dash up. And there was like that bus with the raven. So I felt like it was maybe getting somewhere. But from what I played, that I didn't have a great time.
Right.
So, Pam, every time we bring a game on the show, we put it on the tier list, and our tiers go from absolute bangers, great games, this is fine, almost trash, and back in the trash.
Okay.
And for
Max,
me,
can you send her an image of that really quick just
yeah,
so
I will send the image.
we probably should have done that before we started recording, but
I think there's a link on the sheet.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
oh, I think that might be to
Yeah,
we
Yeah,
have a
I
it's
sent
link.
it in the conversation just in case.
Okay.
So, honestly, this game should probably go in this is fine because, like I said, the visuals, the themes, the music are really great. But I will just go off my own experience.
Mhm.
Since I was mostly bored and the game crashed on me and I had absolutely no will to replay just an hour of gameplay, I will put it in almost trash.
That's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I understand your reasoning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely relate to having to replay game again, especially if it's not something you were that into to begin with. That can definitely
Mhm.
just turn you off the whole thing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
soured me very
Mhm.
hard. Good.
All right.
Who wants to go next?
Pam, would you like to take a game real quick?
Sure. So something I just finished playing on Twitch last week, or I think, is called The Crimson Diamond, which
Okay.
is a old school text parser game. It's like looks like it's got EGA graphics. It's very much based or inspired by the Laura Bow games, like the Colonel's Bequest and the Dagger of Amon Ra. And this is all made by one woman, Julia Minamata. She did all of the programming, the design, the writing, the art. The only thing she didn't do was the music. She got someone in for that. But you play a geologist, an amateur geologist named Nancy Maple, and she goes to a small town in Crimson, Ontario, and she's looking to find out if there are diamonds in the land here. And while she goes there, she meets this colorful cast of characters who have drama between them, and she ends up having to play detective when someone dies.
Ooh,
So
creepy.
yeah, it's a really interesting game. I was worried because I don't like text parsers. Like I love point and click adventure games, but the text parsers I were like a little bit before my time and I had a hard time getting into them. But this one managed to keep my interest a lot of the time. There's a lot of little shortcuts and things to help you, even though I generally forgot about the shortcuts. But it's designed in a really nice way where there's optional content. So, depending on where you are at what time, you can see different things. You can be more thorough or less thorough. But unlike those old Sierra games, you can't soft lock yourself or get into an unwinnable situation because you've missed
That's
something.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those old Sierra games are
Mm-hmm.
a little
Yeah.
rough sometimes.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed this, just going around being a detective. At one point you're trying to get everybody's fingerprints off various things or trying to see whose boot prints belong to who so you can see what happened in a particular situation. And overall, I thought it was really good. The puzzle solving was good. The writing was a lot of fun and very engaging. So
How'd you find the text parser? Because I know you was it better than other games with one, or was it kind of equivalent?
I'd say it was a little better. Like there were some easy ways to repeat a last line, or you could use shortcuts for words. Like you could abbreviate words if you wanted to.
Okay.
Something that I got stuck on was that you couldn't use the word use, and no matter how many times the game told me you can't, that's not a valid command here, I still tried to use it like 40 times.
Yeah, that seems like a command that most people would just use.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
just spam. So.
Mhm.
And
All right.
very dumb question, but have you ever met Julia? I know Toronto is a big city, but in an event and stuff.
No, I've never met her, but the reason I knew about the game was that we were in a Facebook group together, the Classic Gamer Guild Facebook
Okay.
group. So I sort of saw her in there, and that's where I started following the game.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Where would you like to put it on the tier list?
I think I would put it in A. I thought it was pretty great. I have very little complaints about it. Yeah.
Excellent.
It won you over,
Great
even
games.
if it was a text parser.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's saying
It
something.
managed. Yeah, and it managed to win me over pretty quickly too. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right. I would like to talk about the indiest indie game that I have ever brought to the show, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. I mean, it's Naughty Dog, it's Sony, it's another Uncharted game. I played this because I put this game down in like 2019 because I had played Uncharted 1, 2, 3, and 4 back to back when I got my PS4. And then I started this one and I was just like, I think I'm done with Uncharted for a little while because I had just spent like the last 60 hours playing nothing but. And going back to it now, I started it over. It's still fun. This game's incredible. I mean, I think everybody knows what Uncharted is, but essentially you're playing as Chloe. I had to make sure I was getting my names correct. Who is from Uncharted 1 and 2, and you are in India with another character from Uncharted 4, Nadine, and you are going after the tusk of Ganesh. So it has a lot to do with like Indian and Hindu culture, and there's a lot of stuff where they're talking about like the Hindu gods and all of that. And that's not stuff that I particularly know much about because I wasn't, I was born here in America. There's not a big Hindu uh, anything here in America. So I thought all of that was really cool. The set design, the game, it's beautiful. It's Naughty Dog. They do their thing. Um, and yeah, it's just fun sneaking, shooting people. You kill lots and lots of guys like you
And
do in all of the Uncharted games. And yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
it's
I don't know much about popular games. Are you just fighting normal dudes all the way through, or does it have any like godly weird stuff going on, or it's really a serious game?
in this one, there is no like supernatural stuff going
Okay,
on.
okay.
In the other Uncharted games, there is some supernatural stuff that you find, which
Okay.
was always a big surprise. Like even after playing, the first two games and seeing the supernatural stuff, when you get to the third one and all of a sudden at the end there's supernatural stuff happening, it still was like, oh wow, like why is this happening now? But yeah, there's none of that in this game. You're just fighting guys with guns, and yeah. So Max, you played uh The Last of Us not that
Yep.
long ago,
I
and
did
it's
play
very
also.
similar.
Also played like Tomb Raider 2013 in the
Okay,
same vein, I guess.
okay. So it's very similar to that, where you'll get into an area and there will be some tall grass that you can hide in. You can hide behind buildings or low cover
Mhm.
walls, sneak up behind guys, and stealth kill them. And then if somebody sees the body, they'll be like, "Oh God, everybody, there's a body over here." And then you alert all the guards. You get into a firefight,
Yeah.
and it's cover based shooting. Like they make a very specific type of game, and they're really really good at making those games.
Mhm.
And this one's just a lot of fun.
Cool.
Um,
Are there
yeah,
any new abilities or mechanics with the different leads, or is it just smaller Uncharted?
no, it's just 8 hour Uncharted instead
Okay.
of 20 hour Uncharted. I played this in one day. Like
Nice.
I could be a gaming piece of shit on the weekends sometimes and just sit down and play video games all day, and that's what I did with this. I was just like, I'm gonna turn this on, and then 8 hours later, I'm like, I should probably eat something because I have not eaten today.
I like those days.
Um, yeah, it was fun. The story's good. It was nice to like revisit this world again. So I'm gonna put this into great games. It's a solid A tier. I don't think this is gonna be one of my favorite games of all time,
Mhm.
but it's just fun to play an Uncharted every once in a while.
Cool.
Nice.
All right.
Max, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I've also got another smaller games I've played on my phone. It's called Lume, and it's a point and click adventure game about a little girl trying to fix the shack of her grandfather. So it's visually it's really cool. It looks a bit like if Paper Mario was made with Unreal Engine, basically. It's
Okay,
like all papery, but with a lot of textures and lighting that make it look kind of triple A, not stylized. If that makes any sense. And
right.
you start a game. You arrive at your grandpa's shack, and he's not here. You have a note on the door that says, "Hey, I left you some puzzles to solve. Have fun," because her grandfather is apparently a big puzzle guy. So you arrive there. There's no electricity, so you have to fix the roof, and there's a little mini game there. And then you go inside, and you need to find the music box that will tell you some notes that are the combination for the lock. And it's pretty simple point and click adventure stuff. my two main complaints about this game is that it doesn't really work super well for my phone. It feels a little cramped, and like the music box, I tried clicking on it like 10 times and it never gave me anything. And I was confused because there was a piano on the lock, and I was like, obviously I need to find some music out there. Where are the notes, the partition to open the lock? And I went to check a walkthrough and I just didn't click exactly on the right pixel on the music box, but they were playing it on the computer. So with the mouse, you can click really specifically on the handle of the gramophone, but I couldn't do that, and it still took me like 2, 3 tries to really click on the right place. So
I
that
wonder
was
if that
kind
would
of
be
a
better on tablet, where like you have a
yeah.
7 or 8 inch screen rather than a 4 inch screen on the phone.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Because I have a
And
stylus for my tablet also, so that
yeah,
might help.
yeah. It's not a phone game; it's a larger screen game.
Right.
And my second complaint is that it's just way too short. Once you've figure out the shack, the game is done. It's like a 30 minutes game at at most. It feels like the first level of a full game, and there's another chapter, but it's released as a separate game. So,
Oh,
eh,
Oh.
it's I'm a bit iffy on that. But for what I played, it was like a fun start of a point and click adventure. It was colorful. I really like the art style. It was a bit slow, like moving between each environment. There are like very cinematic camera movements, and that felt a bit tedious, going up and down and looking all around. I just waiting for the camera every time. But all in all, Lume was a fine game. I would put it in this as fine. I don't have much else to say about the game.
okay.
When you said that, I thought of the other point and click adventure game called Loom, but it's Loom.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's interesting. There's a subgenre of loom-based
Yeah.
point-and-click adventure games.
All right. Pam, what have you got for us?
So the next one I played is one that I've had in my Steam library for a while and finally decided to give it a go. It's called Elsinore and it's developed by Golden Glitch. And this is a time looping adventure game, and you play Ophelia from Hamlet. So
Oh,
you go through sort of the beginning of the game, you talk to characters. It's sort of like a bit of an isometric perspective. The art style is fine. Like it's not great art, but it's, it works. And you can go around and you can talk to all of the characters from the play. At the end, you die because that's what happened, but then you rewind time and you find out something weird's going here, and so you are basically stuck in a time loop while you're trying to make everything in Denmark not go to shit.
okay.
Yeah.
It's like that
So
Tom Cruise movie, but set in Hamlet.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so you can run around, you can follow Hamlet, see what he's doing, who he's talking to. Various people will give you different sort of quests and paths to follow. You've got a nice journal which keeps track of everything that you're doing. And your progress through those quests are kept through the time loop. So it's not like you need to try to scramble to do every single thing in one day to get it right. You sort of progress what's happening. It's also got a really nice system for showing you what is happening when. If you overhear, oh, these people are meeting here at 4 p.m., it'll show up on your calendar. You can fast forward to there if you want to. So it kind of takes
Oh,
away a bit of the repetitiveness from these kinds of games. um yeah, overall I really liked it. At the beginning I was a little like, oh, I don't know, but I found the story really interesting. All of the characters were obviously based on the characters in the play, but they all have their own little secrets and stories that are made up for this game, which was a lot of fun to find out.
and one base loop without fast forwarding, how long does it take to go from the beginning of the game to your death?
The first one was about maybe 20 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah, and it depends where you go because you can die earlier. There are ways you can die earlier, or by the time you're getting to the end and you think you're saving things and you're preventing invasions from happening, then it can get a little bit longer, like 30 or 40 minutes. But
Okay.
yeah,
Not too bad.
I'm surprised more games don't utilize classic literature as like a jumping off point. It seems
Mhm.
like something that's just like free and available, like all of these great stories that are in public domain that people could use.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I thought it
interesting
was
that
just
somebody's actually doing it.
exactly. Yeah, I thought it was just a really interesting idea. I would love to see more games along this track, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm having trouble with the rankings because I feel like it's better than fine, but it's not great. Like it's good.
Yeah, we tend
We
to
we've
put a
had
lot
this
of stuff
discussion multiple
Yeah.
in this is
times.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I'd put it in. This is fine.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fine. On
Yeah.
the same level as Loom,
Mhm.
20 minutes, child's pointing.
But it's no Uncharted.
It's not
It's no one.
Uncharted. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. We have discussed trying to figure out how to get another rank in there, and that discussion has, well, obviously not come to any sort of conclusion yet, as you can see.
The more guests we have that have this complaint,
Mhm.
maybe we will take it more seriously
Yeah.
at some point.
All right. I want to talk about a very weird game that I played that I'm probably going to absolutely slaughter the name of. This is Jitsuroku, Powerful Yakyuken, Slugger Yamada. I am going to
Doesn't seem
just
too
call this
bad.
game Slugger Yamada. Um, this is a 99-cent Japanese exclusive baseball themed hack and slash action game.
Oh.
You play as a dragon girl. Let me get this really quick. So, this translates apparently, according to Google Translate, to the real story of baseball, Slugger Yamada, which this is not the real story of baseball. I can tell you that for sure because there were not dragon girls fighting demons in the real story of baseball.
Sorry, I have a question. You played that
Yes.
where?
I downloaded it off Steam. The entire game's in
Okay.
Japanese.
Okay, it's Japanese exclusive by the fact that it's in Japanese.
Yes, it's
Or
Japanese exclusive in the sense that I cannot natively read
Okay.
anything on the screen.
Okay.
So essentially what this game is at its core level, it is a 3D hack and slash game. But the hack and slash gameplay is split up in between two different primary game modes. In one game mode, you are running around and you're hacking and slashing, and the other game mode, you are shooting at your enemies. And what that means is, well, hang on. I have to explain a whole nother mechanic. In each level of this game, it is divided into multiple innings since it's based on baseball. You have a total of 18 innings, so it would be the 9 innings per team to be able to get through the level. At the start of the first inning, you have about 20 seconds where you're running around with your baseball bat doing the hack and slash. And then at the end of that 20 seconds, your bat transforms into a gun, and now you're shooting baseballs for 20 seconds.
Okay.
And then once that 20 seconds is over, it transforms back into the baseball bat, and now you have like 18 seconds for the second inning. And then So you're constantly on this clock of diminishing time. So by the time you get to like the 7th inning, you only have like 4 seconds per weapon. And you're trying to get to the end of this stage before the time runs out. And to get to the end of the stage, you have to defeat a bunch of enemies that are both close to you and far away from you. And sometimes you don't have to defeat them all. Sometimes you can just run past them, but you get scores and ranked based on how well you do in each of these levels.
Okay.
This game is so weird, and I kind of love it. There's a whole separate mechanic. There's a gotcha mechanic. So you earn points while you play through these levels, and the better rank you get in each of the levels, the better your score is. And the more points you get, and then you spend these points in this gotcha machine to get cards, and these cards give you different abilities. And again, this is all in Japanese. So every time I'm looking at a new card, I'm using Google Translate on my phone to try and figure out what it says.
Nice.
And it only works like somewhat. Thankfully, the writing is really clear. Like there's been some games that I've played in Japanese in the past where the writing was like super stylized, so Google Translate wasn't able to translate like either the kanji or the
Takana.
yeah, the katakana properly. So thankfully everything's written relatively clearly, so it translates mostly fine. It's just kind of a pain to do when you have to scroll through like 20 or 30 cards that give you various power-ups, whether and like you can activate one of these cards in the middle of a level and it'll give you like addition to your defense or attack or ranged attack or whatever. And then some of them, the rarer cards, will give you better buffs and better special abilities. It'd be like explosions that come off your things or off yourself or off your weapon or whatever. Yeah, this is a weird game. Somebody sent this game to me, like showed me a video of it. I was like, "Oh, I have to play this. I absolutely have to play this. This is so like my level of weird. I love it."
Yeah, that was my
It gets
question. Like, how did you how did you find this game? But yeah, it was sent to you.
somebody in the Discord sent this game to me, and I don't remember who. But yeah, it's I don't really know what else to say about this game because it's just like that's its core mechanics, all broken down, and then it's just a 3D hack and slash where you're playing through levels, kind of like Devil May Cry. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It gets hard. It gets really hard. I'm close to the end. I feel like.
Okay, you've
And
not beaten it yet, but
no, I'm not beating it. I'm gonna keep grinding at it because I'm having fun with it.
oh, I see
Um,
that someone brought this to AGDQ last year.
oh, did they?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
that's
check that
cool.
out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that might be how somebody found it and sent it to me.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me if somebody saw the speed running was like, "Oh, Scotch would love this." I'm gonna put this into our A tier. This is a pretty great game.
Okay, but
I'm
you have
having
to
a
say
good
the
time with
title.
this.
You have to say the title once again. Put it on the
Uh,
tier list.
Jitsuroku, powerful Yakyuken, Slugger, Yamada.
Nice.
Nice.
I think I got that close.
Mm-hmm. It rolls off the tongue.
Sounded good
Yeah,
to me.
can you tell that I speak so much Japanese
All the time.
all the time?
Awesome. Okay, I
Max,
do.
what have you got?
Yeah, I have a game that I think you will like. It's called Vice Bot. Does any
Okay.
do you know? Does any of you know about this game? Bud Vice. Sorry,
I,
I said Vice Bot. It's Bud Vice.
I haven't heard of it.
I have
Okay,
not either.
so Bud Vice is an indie game inspired by dang it, I forgot the reference. The cowboy game on the Super Nintendo. It's like a gallery shooter.
What?
Wild
I
Guns.
know.
Yeah,
Wild Guns. Yeah.
Wild Guns. So it's pretty much like Wild Guns, but you're playing as a girl She's called Aaron Saver, and the story is completely ridiculous. So she's an ex-cop because she lost one of her arm during a mission. She was infiltrating like a bad guy camp or something, and she lost her arm, and her partner died, and now she's just like playing video games all the time. And some bad guys are trying to make her town disappear or something, and because of that she lost electricity, so she could not play her game, so she decided to go kill all the bad guys and see what's happening by herself. So she was fine to still she could have continued working for the police. So I don't know. She replaced her arm with like a gun arm, so she has like a robotic arm, and now you go from level to level, shooting everything in sight. And like I said, it's kind of wild gun, so you're stuck at the bottom of the screen. You can either get back under the cover, like there's a bunch of stuff right above you that will give you cover if you go behind them, but they can be destroyed by the enemies. Or you can roll, and when you roll, you're invincible for a couple of frames, so you can dodge all the enemy attacks. And then you can either shoot straight up or hold R1, and then that will lock to the closest enemy according to where you are on the screen. So the whole gist of the game, it's a 2D pixel art game, and you move left and right, dodging stuff and shooting most of the time by holding R1. And at first, the game, I was like, this is way too fucking hard. The enemies appear, and like less than a second when they're on screen, they're already shooting you, and you just have no time to react. And honestly, I saw someone in the reviews say it's wild that the most difficult level of the game is the second level, and I totally agree. Like I was
Oh.
stuck on the second level for like 20 minutes, and I was like, okay, that's not happening.
Oh,
I'm having fun, but this is way too hard. I went into the settings and I switched it to easy mode, and I just continued with easy from then on.
oh, I would have started this on easy mode. Like I'm watching the trailer on Steam right now, and I'm just like, no, I'm playing that on easy.
I didn't know there was an easy mode before that. And after that second level, it went way more smoothly. And from what I've seen, the easy mode will only change like the amount of HP each enemy has, and not
Hmm.
the amount of enemies and the patterns and everything. It's just easier to kill everything. So I felt that it was pretty fine for an easy mode. You're still doing the same thing that you would be doing as medium. You're just doing it for less time. And yeah, this game is extremely fun. Every like 5 levels, there's a boss level where you're fighting some kind of human mutant animal hybrid with, and they are like, I don't care about the story, so I won't go too deep into that. But every cutscene is extremely badly acted. Like they really dig into that 90s arcade game experience. So it's really over the top, and everyone talks like that. And it's really cheesy. I love it. And each level also has a secret mission. So the game in itself has its own set of achievements, and every level has a secret mission that you find what it is once you've beaten the level. So in some levels you have to beat the level without taking any damage. In the other level you have to beat the level without destroying some crates in the background, or you have to take the time to destroy some fans that are blowing in the background on top of beating everyone else. And I thought that those challenges were pretty fun. I did not do all of them, but I must have done like half of them because I was just having a great time. And once you're done with the 25 levels of the game, you unlock 25 more levels. That
Oh.
seems a bit more like remixes of the base levels and enemies. But still, there's a lot of content for this game, and this game is only like $5.
Well, it's $2
yeah,
on Steam right now.
it's
As
$2
of
right now.
recording.
It's $13 Canadian, so it's really not that expensive, and it's a great arcade experience. I had a lot of fun, and the music is really good. It's like electric guitar, great arcade upbeat music, and yeah, advice. I had a ton of fun. Do you have any questions before I put it on the quest log?
No, it's in my Steam cart right
I
now
said
after we
quest
get done
log. I don't know
recording.
why.
Yeah,
I knew you would like this game. It felt like a game that you would love.
Yeah, as soon as we get done recording, I'm buying this.
I have put it on my wish list. I really like the pixel art. There are certainly
Yeah.
a lot of bullets on screen, but yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
What are the letters on? I'm seeing letters on the screenshots, like blocks with letters. Are those anything in particular?
Oh,
or-
yeah. I did not talk about that. So in every level, you have your base weapon that will just shoot bullets at a normal pace, I can say.
Mhm.
And every so often, there's like a bird that appears on the screen, a bird robot. And when you shoot that bird robot, it will give you either some hearts so that you don't die, or
Mhm.
some weapons that are
Okay.
stronger weapons. And the M is a minigun, so you shoot faster. The S is, I don't remember. Yeah, it's
Shotgun.
spread. It's spread. It's spread. So you
Uh,
shoot 3 bullets instead of 1. F is fire, so you shoot like a fire, a fire gun, but
Flamethrower.
a flamethrower. Thank you, but it doesn't go as far as your bullets. So it's really more for the enemies that are up close. R is rocket launcher, so that's really powerful. And G is grenades, and that's really useful for some enemies that have shields. So when they have the shield up, you cannot shoot them. You have to wait for them to remove the shield, and the more you shoot, the longer they will keep the
Mhm.
shield up. And when you use the grenades, well, it will go over the shield, so it will kill them. So you have to, and that's one of the few things that I don't really like with the controls, because you get a small amount of those powerful weapons in every level, and once you're done with, like, say, the spread gun, it will go back to the main gun, and then you have to spam the L1 to go back to the weapon that you want. So if you are on
Oh,
spread,
that's kind of.
then it goes back to 1, and then you have to hit L1 like
Mhm.
5 times to go to the grenade launcher. So that's it takes a time to adjust, and that's one
Mhm.
of the things that also makes the game easier. The more you continue into the game, the farther you get, the more birds you will see in the level. So you get more weapons, and it's kind of easier of killing everything because you have better weapons more time. And yeah, there's a lot
Cool.
of bulletins in the screen, but the more you play, the more you get a hang of when to roll and everything. It becomes like muscle memory. The more you go through the levels. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. It was very fun. That was something that my cousin had on his Steam, and we used the Steam family sharing. So he went home with his Steam Deck, so we share the same Steam library basically. So I had this already in my collection, and I think, oh man, it's tough. I think I will put it in absolute banger. I was going to put it into great games, but the more I was talking about it during the podcast, the more I'm feeling like I had really a good experience with that game. It was pretty. I wasn't expecting much. I was just expecting an arcade experience, play for maybe an hour or so. But I played more than that. There's even more levels that I could play, and really the only real downside is that it's really hard. But if you play on easy, it's manageable. It's a fun time.
Excellent. Sounds great.
Nice.
Pam, what have you got for us?
So the next one I have is a new release called Cabernet. This just came out I think last month, and you play a vampire, well, a newly made vampire named Lisa. It takes place in 19th century Eastern Europe. You sort of wake up, you don't really know what's going on with you. You don't remember how you were turned into a vampire, and you need to sort of figure things out, how vampire society works. You need to get a job, you need to do favors for the baroness, or no, the countess who sort of runs things. You need to make friends with humans. You sort of build up relationships. You make decisions about what you're doing, about who you're going to feed from, if you're going to kill people. You've got different stats, and your stats are all mostly around knowledge. So things like science and medicine, or history, or literature, and those can open up new conversation options with different people. You can also level those up as you get more experience. And I was so excited when I found this. I played the demo on Steam, and it was a lot of fun. Had a cool art style, like not anything too flashy, but a nice art style. You can change into a bat to fly around. You can sometimes go invisible or hypnotize people. And it was just the kind of like role playing vampire game that I wanted, something, more story and decision heavy as opposed to combat-y. Sadly, when I bought it on Xbox, I found that it is incredibly buggy.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yes, it started off just like some screen flicker. Occasionally, a wrong dialogue line would play that didn't match up with the text, and then it got into like, there's a quest to buy bandages from the store, and there are no bandages in the store. I got to a point where I was doing a quest and I followed someone into a back room so that I could hypnotize them, and then I just got stuck in the back room and I couldn't get out of it without just reloading my game. So at that point, I went on the Steam forums and found that there were pages and pages of bug reports of things happening that would make it so that you get stuck, or you wouldn't be able to do one path because only one would work. So I ended up putting this one down after about 4 hours in hopes that it will get some patches at some point. It has had a few Steam patches, still no console patches, but yeah.
That's
get them more
rough.
time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to have kind of blown up. I have some extensions on Chrome, and it says that it did like $150K in a week on Steam.
Oh.
So
Wow.
I think it did sell well. So hopefully that will give them enough like money and investment to fix their game.
Yeah.
I hope
Hopefully
so,
they
yeah.
do that and they just don't take it and run.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they seem to be working on fixes fairly steadily for the PC version. So I'm hoping it'll come back, because I definitely, I would have refunded it, but I played it 4 hours on Xbox. I'm not going to get a refund for it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do need more time to get approval on consoles, I believe. So
yeah. Yeah. So
I've
I'm
checked
sort of holding out hope.
I've checked the trailers. It looks a bit like a Flash game. Like visually, it reminds me of some Flash games. And
It reminds me of Adventure Quest in terms of its style of like how the characters are designed. Obviously not like the actual designs. Like these are obviously more Victorian rather than Adventure Quest high fantasy, but just in the way that the characters are modeled.
And when you say Adventure Quest, you're talking about Battlon.com, right?
Oh, maybe. Battlon.com.
Yeah. We should talk about that someday.
Oh, for sure. I played the shit out of that when I was younger.
Oh yeah, let's
I
go.
loved that game.
Future plans. So yeah, for Cabernet, not the wine, because I was dumb. I just searched Cabernet without Steam
Oh.
at first. Yeah, for the quest log, what
For the
do you have for
log,
us? Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying that today.
It's
Or
not the quest log.
I know it's not the quest log.
The
the
tier
landfill.
list.
The tier list.
I'm gonna say almost trash C because I think it's got some really good ideas there. It is definitely a game I would like to play more of if it just worked more. So just
Yeah.
with hopes that it will get fixed. Right now I can't really recommend it to anyone, so I'm gonna say C.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Completely understandable. All right, for me, next game I want to talk about is Teslagrad 2. Have either of you guys played this game? Because I know this one's actually pretty popular.
I played some of Teslagrad 1.
Okay.
No. I've heard the name, but I couldn't say anything about this game.
Okay. Well, so for several episodes ago at this point, like 5 episodes ago, I don't know, I did not look it up. Several episodes ago, we had done an episode where we spent $25 on video games and brought what we did to the show. And this was one that I bought in that sale and didn't have enough time to get to during that episode. So I just wanted to mention that. This is a puzzle platformer, and you basically play as a girl with magical electric powers. So your two main powers are like a short range teleport, where like you like turn into an electric spark and then you appear somewhere else. And your other main power is like a magnetic field that forms around yourself, and that does several things. It allows you to walk on certain walls. It allows you to like turn certain platforms on and off. And it allows you to like repel yourself from certain other platforms, like, you know, because it's the same polarity as your current magnetic force. And it's just a puzzle platformer. There's not a lot of combat in this game, but there is a little bit of combat, and we'll get back to that point in a minute.
Okay.
So primary thing, first off, the music in this game is great. I really, really like the music. The art style is absolutely fantastic. Like, this is a really beautiful, like, kind of hand-drawn looking game. 2D platformer. I like that. I like a good puzzle platformer.
Mm-hmm.
This game's also only supposed to be about 3 hours long, so that's like perfect. I love that. The puzzles are fun. There's been some where like I kind of got stuck on them for a few minutes, where like I had to figure out, you know, what exactly I had to do in this room to be able to progress forward. There were some where like they were they were a little bit more precision based, where like you had to do like specific like magnetic propulsions from one spot to get up to a higher platform, and like do some timing based stuff where like a platform would disappear and reappear while doing that to do like a high jump. So like all of that was really, really fun and really cool, and it's a nice progression of difficulty from the beginning of the game, where you learning how to use all of your powers, to the middle of the game where I'm currently at, where, you know, you're solving these more difficult puzzles. All of that was great. And then I get to this encounter where I have to fight against this enemy. And it's not the first enemy that you have to fight, but it's basically a boss encounter that you have to do to be able to progress forward. And the way the encounter works, you're fighting against like this deer. And there are these other enemies on the level also. So you're one big flat plane, there's the deer, and these two other like skeleton guys.
Mm-hmm.
You have to dash through these skeleton guys to be able to do damage to them and then make them explode on top of the deer. That sounds easy in theory, except what I found oftentimes would happen was I would dash through one of the skeleton guys, but then like my hitbox wouldn't get all the way through them, even though I thought I had enough space to do that. So I'd end up right in front of them, and then they'd hit me and kill me, and it's one hit death.
Oh, no.
And then I have to start over. I have literally tried this probably like 50 times to get through this one spot. Like I've spent about a half hour on it, and I'm just like, I can't do this. Like there's something about boss fights in a puzzle platformer that doesn't normally require like fast-paced timing like this that just really gets on my nerves. I had the same problem with the 2010 Boy and His Blob. Like that's just a puzzle platformer for most of the game, and then you get into a boss encounter and it's suddenly really hard for no reason.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is kind of in that same vein. I wish I loved this game because if I didn't have this one encounter that was holding me back, I would really like this game.
I
Yes.
searched Teslagrad deer fight on Google, and there's one video of someone trying to beat the boss, and it takes like 2 minutes. And there's one comment. It says, "I'm stuck here and thinking about quitting. Such shitty mechanics."
Very fair. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a good encounter. It's just
Yeah.
not. You have to hit the deer 3 times because I've been able to get him twice, but then I wasn't able to get the third hit, and it's really hard to get the deer stacked on top of the other enemy and make them explode at the right time because you have to dash through the skeleton guy to make him explode.
Mhm.
But that doesn't happen on the first hit on the skeleton guy. It happens on the third hit on the skeleton guy.
So
Mm.
it gets even
It's
harder. Yeah.
yeah, it's just not well designed. If I could skip past it, I would, but I just can't.
Mhm.
Everything else about this game was so good up until this point, and I feel like if this is what the first boss encounter is going to be like, I can't imagine what the next one is going to be like because I know I'm not at the end of the game. So I'm going to abandon this game. I am not going to beat it, and I am going to put this game into almost trash because that encounter is not good.
It's not a great episode for games.
What are you talking about? We had
First ones were.
Slugger Yamada.
Yeah,
We had the greatest dragon baseball game ever.
True. Can't argue with that.
Did you find that I found in the first Teslagrad the character felt very slippery, like it had too much momentum. Does it feel like that in here, or is it?
No, I didn't play the first Teslagrad, but the character doesn't feel slippery. It feels good to control.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think the first game did have that same problem though with bosses with just one hit kills and places where you could just die in one hit and
Yeah. And like if it's a puzzle room where like I'm falling into spikes, because there were a few of those where like you have to do things with very particular timing to like not fall into spikes and die. Like I thought those were fine for the most part, but with the boss encounter, it's like I'm trying to manage 3 different enemies on the screen at the same time with my very limited amount of
Mhm.
moves, and that's just not good.
Mhm.
So
Oh well, at
yeah.
least it wasn't expensive. So
No, I think I paid like $1.50 for it or something like that. Like I got it on 95% off on the PSN store. Probably don't buy it. They're doing fine. They've made 2 of these games. Apparently people like them enough.
exactly, it maybe wasn't for you for that one.
Yeah. Max, what's your last game? Let's stop talking about this bad game.
Yeah, my last game. I think you would also like it. I found it on Apple Arcade once again, and it's called Air Twister. And Air Twister is basically a Space Harrier spiritual successor because it's made by the guy who made Space Harrier in the 80s, Yu Suzuki.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you're playing yeah?
I was gonna say this kind of looks like Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah, it's Panzer Dragoon, Star Fox, it's those kinds of game.
It's a
You're
rail
playing
shooter. Love it.
Yeah, it's a rail shooter, it's 3D, you go forward and you play as a sexy lady with very little clothing, very tight clothing, and it tries to have like a really epic story or something. I did not really understand what was going on, but it starts like with a very long cinematic that you can skip, but it really tries to be some grand epic adventure. But basically, you're
Does
just like,
story matter in these kind of games?
no, it doesn't. Exactly. So each level is divided in two sections. In the first section, you're doing classic rail shooting stuff. There's waves of enemies coming from everywhere, and then so I played on my phone, like I said, and the way that it works is that you can use both your thumbs to move and shoot. So every time you click somewhere, you will both shoot and move to where you click. But if you keep clicking, so if I keep my thumb on the screen and move around, then my character will move around and I can shoot with my second thumb. But you're like hiding all the screen. So I think it would be a better experience on the computer, on the console. But that's how I played and it works fine. So there are waves of enemies and you have two types of shot. You can either shoot wherever in the screen. So if you click on an enemy, it will target it. But you can also swipe the screen to like target multiple enemies, and then it will attack all of them when you release.
Okay.
And the second part of the level, once you've done like a minute or so of rail shooting, you get to a boss, and then your character will jump on some kind of animals. In the first level, it's a swan, but you also get on top of like a flying iguana, a flying elephant. It's really weird. Well, Space Area was really weird. It's the same kind of weirdness, and you have to fight like big bosses, and most of the time they're big bosses with flashing pink hotspots that you have to mash around. And the game is meant to be replayed, so if you like on your first one, you will mostly not win complete all. I think it's 12 levels, 13 levels. You will not get
Mhm.
through them because like the swiping mechanic, you can only lock on four different characters, four different enemies, and you only have like 3 hearts per continue. And once you die, so every time you kill a wave of enemy, you get a star, and then there's a big map of like an upgrade tree. So you get stars, and then you can upgrade your character, so you get more arts, you get more luck on targets, you get also shields that can be used. You can also get some slowdown time, so you can take the time to mash the attacks and avoid everything more easily. And once you've upgraded, then you restart the whole thing again. It doesn't say where you progress. So maybe you wouldn't like exactly that part of the game, Chris, but it's an arcade game, so you're supposed to start from the beginning and start again and try to beat the whole thing on 3 continues. I have two main gripes with the game and something that's kind of funny. So my first gripe is that the game quits really easily. So I playing on my phone, and on the iPhone you cannot like save different apps that you say, hey, never unload. So this some of my games I will leave them unloaded for like 2 days, and when I try to go back in the game, my save is still there. It just suspended for like 2 days. But this one, I would open like an app or two and come back, and I would lose my progress, and I would have to start again. But I don't, I don't lose all my progress. So like all the stars that I won would still be available to upgrade my character. But I would not keep my progress in the levels proper. So I would have to start back from the beginning. So that happened a couple of times. And one time I was on the very last stage, and the game kind of lagged for a second. And when I tried to click continue, it it bugged and it clicked return to the main
Oh, no.
menu. So I lost all my save. I was at the very end of the game, but unlike Gris, I want to go back and actually beat the game because I think it's a lot of fun. But the main problem of the game is that most of the bullets are kind of impossible to avoid. They're like giant rectangles that flip around and they start on the very left of the screen and then you get it on the very right of the screen. You kind of have to get the vibe of the game. I think they target you. So once they appear, you have to just move out of the way so you don't get it. But even that, I'm not really sure. That part of the game is a bit frustrating. But since you upgrade your character and get so much more arts, it's not that big of a deal. You can tank a lot of hits in the end. So that's a bit frustrating. And the thing that's funny is that the music of the game it's basically just songs from a Dutch composer. Like they hired this guy that made remix of his songs from the 90s and you're basically playing Space Harrier but with like Queen music in the background. It sounds like Bohemian Rhapsody but sang by a Dutch guy. It's extremely weird.
Okay.
I like the music. I think it's good music, but it doesn't fit the game like for a single second. It's so weird. And I asked our friend Guido, who's Dutch, and he never heard of that guy. Like nobody knows that this guy is a Dutch guy. It's just like some random singer from the 90s that they decided to hire. And yeah, there's a bunch of more stuff. You can customize your character, change the hair color, the hairstyle, change the suit. So you get a lot of grades and stuff to do. And there are also bonus levels that you have to play to continue your progress in the upgrade tree. And those are just more levels that you have to play some mini games. And yeah, that's Air Twister, the Space Harrier's successor. Do you have any questions? I was pretty thorough, but yeah.
I do have a question actually.
Yeah.
How do you think Yu Suzuki is going to try and tie this into Shenmue?
That's a great question. I guess we just have to wait. Did this release?
And do you think he's
before
using the
or-
profits from this to try and fund Shenmue 4?
This released in 2023, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
and
Maybe.
Shenmue 3 was like 2020 or
Yeah, so
2019, something like that.
yeah,
But it
probably
also
that.
wasn't well received, so
Well, this game is very positive.
no,
on
this
things.
game was well received.
Yeah.
Shenmue 3
Not
was
Shenmue
not.
3. Yeah.
This game really does look like a shinier Dreamcast game.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it has strong Dreamcast energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really. And all the environments are pretty great. Like one of the environments they showcase the most is like a big ravine with giant roses on the left and the right, and I thought that was really a great idea. I never seen something like that in a video game, and it's I will put Air Twister in the great games tier. I didn't know what I was signing up for. Well, it looked like a Panzer Dragoon game, but this game is really fun. I might double dip and buy it on Steam because, like I said, playing behind my thumbs is a bit weird at points.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a fun bus game that I've been playing in the past few weeks. So yeah, totally recommend it.
Cool. All right. Pam, I see you added an additional game onto the list so that we all had the same number of games.
I did.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
So the last game I want to talk about is called Withering Rooms, which this just came out last year, and it is a 2D horror game. I could throw so many subgenres at this. You play a young woman who's sent to this sort of asylum for bad behavior or something, and when she gets there, she finds things are a little weird. She ends up getting set on fire by a witch. And then she sort of wakes up in this dream world where everything is strange. She's trying to figure out what's happening. And you're basically exploring. It starts off as the manor and then eventually gets much bigger in scope. So you're sort of side scrolling along these rooms. You can find things, pick things up as you go. There are monsters everywhere, and you're doing combat with them. It starts out, you might have an axe or a knife. So you're doing some stabbing, you're rolling through enemies. The combat is a little clunky. Like the roll, even though she's a small young woman, her roll is like heavy. It's like, but it's okay. You've got an energy meter that you have to do. As you keep going through the game, you find more equipment. So more outfits to wear with different bonuses, more weapons. You eventually get guns. You get spells or items like a fire jar or a poison jar. And you can craft all of these things as you go. You're meeting different people as you go who are helping uncover the story, as well as usually helping you. Like some people will teach you how to craft your spells, or some people will make ammo for your guns for you. And you're going through doing a bunch of quests, exploring, but this game is also kind of a roguelite. So if you die,
you said the words I don't like.
I didn't like that either. It's okay. It's very strange. So if you die, the enemies all reset. You lose your stuff. More to say about that. And the map jumbles up. Like you lose your map and you have to re-explore it to go. So I didn't love that. Like I didn't like losing my map and having it every building sort of scramble itself up. I didn't find that really added anything to the game. But they also do so many things to make it like friendlier as a roguelite. As you're going, you get these tiers of remembrance, so you can use them, and by the end of them I had more than 20 to remember an item. So if you die, you wake up with that item again. You keep all of your experience, you keep your levels because you can level up your various skills. Any progress towards quests, like the first thing you have to do is figure out how to turn the electricity back on in the mansion. Once you do that, that's done. You never have to do it. So you don't lose any story progress as you're going. So it's like makes it very friendly. Even on boss fights, there are these mirrors and you're basically saving before a boss fight. So if you die in a boss fight, you can just go back and try it again. Whereas if you die in an enemy out in the world, then that will sort of reset the world. So at first I was a little like, I don't like that this is resetting. I don't know why this is roguelite. But then most of the good times I had playing it, I was living for 2-4 hours. Like I'd have a run where I just got to explore everything, find all kinds of items, remember the things that I was finding. So I ended up getting really hooked on it as I went. Although I did find that the later chapters, I think there's 4 chapters, the game gets very large. I enjoyed it when it was just like, okay, just explore this manor. And then it's like, okay, well then also explore the grounds a little. And by Act 4, there was just so many different areas, and I was so paranoid that I was going to die and my map was going to reset that some of them I was just like, I don't want to do this. I'm just heading towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
So
it gets a bit large for it to reset.
mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's interesting. So it's sort of a roguelite. I would say the combat is very soulsy, just like energy based, a lot of rolling, a lot of item usage if you want it. The leveling up system is similar as well. But yeah, it's just a side scrolling horror game.
Mm-hmm.
everything that you said sounds great except for the roguelite
Yeah,
stuff.
I know. Yeah.
Like I get so frustrated looking through games nowadays because I'm like, I'll watch a trailer and it'll be like, oh, this looks great, and then I look at the tags and it's like all the things that I like, and then it has roguelite attached onto it, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't want to buy you.
Yeah, it's strange because they do so many mechanics to make it like at the least roguelite as possible. So it just makes me
Right.
wonder like why do it at all?
Yeah. I wonder how much of that is just like the fact that roguelites are really popular right now and people feel like they need to put them into their game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
So I don't know.
And is the horror only in the themes? Do you have any like jump scares or anything, or it just feels like bloody and scary?
No, there's not really any jump scares. It's just sort of a kind of gothic horror mood. There is a I don't think it's called sanity, but something like a sanity meter where once it dips below a certain point, things will start changing. So while at first it's just, a nice manor with wallpaper and bookcases, thing all of a sudden like the walls will start bleeding or the bookcase will go and in its place will be a skeleton. So the atmosphere gets creepier as you
Mm-hmm.
lose sanity.
Kind of
Okay,
Call of
okay.
Cthulhu-esque. Okay. I
Mhm.
like it.
Yeah.
Cool. Where would you like to place it on the tier list?
I'm gonna give this one a B as well. I'd say this is fine. Again, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's good. Like I liked it a lot. It really kept me playing for hours on end at times. But I do just wish they would just leave the map alone.
Mm-hmm.
Stop scrambling it up.
I do have a
Did you
question
beat
about the
it?
map. Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Answer
Uh,
that first. Did you
Yeah,
beat
I
it?
did
did you
beat
beat
it.
the game?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, about how long did it take you to like get that final run?
To get the final run.
Well, if you can tell
Not
me either that or just how long it took you to beat it in general.
It didn't take long to let me just Withering Rooms was 21 and a half hours I played it
Okay.
for. Yeah, because they save your progress, once I decided that I wanted to finish the game,
Hmm.
um it didn't take long for me to
Okay.
get to the end. Yeah.
Yeah. I also had a question about the map. Since it's
Mhm.
like 2D, is do you go like foreground, background, or is it just a long hallway?
Foreground, background, so there's
Okay, okay,
doors or staircases,
okay, okay.
and you go up those.
Can I ask? I want to ask one additional question about that. Would you say that the map? I don't know if you've played the game, but would you say that's similar to the game Claire in the way that the map is set up, where it's like on a 2D plane, but then you go through doors on the foreground and background?
I haven't played Claire. It's only on the almost entirely on the background. I guess the doors were in the background. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Sounds interesting enough.
Mm-hmm.
hmm I do generally recommend it, especially if anyone's less averse to roguelike mechanics as me.
It does not sound like the kind of thing that I would be into. So
Yeah.
if it did not have the dreaded roguelike words, I'd be more into it.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
But all right, final game that I have to talk about is called Natsuki Chronicles. This is a shoot 'em up, and you play as an anime girl. And there's a story that I started skipping after like 2 missions because it was just too damn talky, and I stopped caring about reading and just wanted to get to the shooting bits, the good
Mm-hmm.
parts of a shoot 'em up. Um,
Yeah, because we care
so
about the
this,
story in those games.
yeah. So there's also a problem where like all of the dialogue is in Japanese in this game, and
You're
there will
doing
be
that on yourself, Scotch. You
I
know, you don't
Max,
speak
I know.
Japanese.
um the problem with the Japanese dialogue is that like the characters will be talking to you in the middle of a level, but I'm flying a spaceship and trying to avoid a bunch of bullets and shoot at enemies. I can't be looking in the top corner of my screen at subtitles to try and figure out what people are saying to me, because then I'll just die. So, and like, I don't think any of that is actually necessary for the story of the game. It's probably just them being like, oh, this thing is happening now. But
Yeah.
there's enough that I felt like I was missing. And also, I didn't really care about the story in the first place that I just started skipping it. So the cool thing about Natsuki Chronicles is that the main game mode is the story mode is actually level based instead of being a traditional like arcade shoot 'em up where you have to play from the first level to the last level. You play the first level. Once you're done with the first level, you never have to go back to the first level if you don't want to.
Yeah, cool.
And every level that you play through, you earn experience and money. You spend that money to buy all of the different weapon upgrades for your ship. So in a lot of arcade shoot 'em ups, you'll find the power ups in the individual levels as like the floating letters or whatever. All of the traditional like shoot 'em up type of weapons are here in this game. You just have to buy them and equip them before you go into a mission. So what ended up happening to me in a lot of missions was like I would go in and like I would have, you know, like the laser equipped and then like bombs equipped as my secondary weapon that are shooting down at the bottom of the screen because that's what I needed in like the previous mission. And I would get about halfway through and I would die and I would realize, oh, there's a lot of enemies coming at me from behind in this mission, and they're also coming at me from like both the top and the bottom instead of mostly from one central area. So I would switch my weapon loadout to be like, oh, well, one of my weapons is going to be like a back attack, and one of my weapons is going to be more of a spread shot. And then I'd go back into the level with those weapons equipped to be able to better handle playing through that level. And being able to change your loadout without having to like hope you find the right power up and it's not being blocked by bullets when it's at the right power up made this game much more tolerable to me than playing like any arcade shoot 'em up. Like I enjoy playing arcade shoot 'em ups. I'm just not good at them. So I don't usually beat them. I was able to finish this game because I was able to change my loadout before going into a mission. And I would die, 2 or 3 times in some of the later missions. Before I like got what I felt like was a proper loadout to be able to properly handle all of the challenges that the level was trying to throw at me. So I think all of that makes this game a lot more accessible to people who are not good at shoot 'em ups, and the fact that you can just restart the level and you don't have to go back to the beginning of the game. Like that's great. The levels are kind of long, which I think is fine because of that. So like they're like 3 to 5 minutes, maybe 2 to 5 minutes depending on the level. And there is some variety. Like you get you have your main ship, and then there's like 1 or 2 levels where you have to pilot like a ship that basically takes up the entirety of the screen as your ship, which I found kind of interesting. You don't normally see that in shoot 'em ups. Yeah, I thought this game was pretty cool.
How does it handle when you get hit? Like, can you take more than one hit? Do you lose all of your power-ups when you take a hit?
Actually, that is a really good point. You do not lose your power-ups. You have a health meter, and your health meter regenerates over time.
Ooh.
So actually,
nice.
there's two other mechanics that I didn't mention. One is that every time you play through a specific level, you earn experience towards that level. So that allows you to have access to, I'll say, because it's on a slider, additional health to help you beat that level. So if you play a level multiple times, you can have up to like 8 additional hits worth of health to play through that level with. But then your main primary health bar is normally 3 hits, but if you evade attacks for long enough, you'll regenerate slowly over time how much health you actually have. But those extra health pips that you can unlock, those do not ever come back. Just that main 3, and then your weapons they level up also, so they get more powerful the more you play with them in a particular level. So some RPG mechanics, some replay value there if you want to play through it on. There's 4 different difficulties for each stage also, so you can play through it. On each of the different difficulties, you only have 2 difficulties unlocked at the beginning of the game, and if you beat stage 1 on normal, you can play through it on hard, and then if you beat that one on hard, you can play through it on extra hard, and all of those additional upgrades definitely help to be able to get through those harder difficulties. I did not do basically any of that. I played through it on easy and struggled.
That's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean this game's pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
And it's a sequel to another game called Ginga Force, not sure
Oh, is it?
how it's pronounced. Yeah, and both are 95% off on Steam right now. So
Yeah, this was 95% off on the PlayStation Network, so it's normally like
okay,
I don't know, $6 or something, and I got it for 99
no,
cents.
it's
Or maybe it's
20,
$10.
it's 20 something dollars.
Oh, is it 20 something?
Yeah,
Is that 20 Canadian dollars or US dollars?
it's 26 Canadian. So I
Okay.
did round down for you.
Okay. I'm the only American here, and I'm not proud of that fact at the moment. So
Yeah, you're in the
I'd
minority.
rather be up north with you guys.
Yeah.
This looks interesting. I really like the level based shoot 'em ups. It's just a shame that in order to sort of justify that, they're like, here's a story. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want to avoid some bullets. You know?
Yeah. There is a spot like in the middle of the game where there's a like split path in the story, and that does affect the ending that you get. Like there's a good and bad ending of this game. I got the bad ending because what it wanted me to do to get the good ending was very difficult, and I couldn't get it done. So it's
Yeah.
cool. For 99 cents, like yeah, check this game out. It's a good shoot 'em up. And it's good for somebody who does not play a lot of them. As for the
Awesome.
tier list, um I think this deserves to go into great games. Like this is at the bottom of that. Like this is one of those games where we really need that additional tier somewhere in there. Cuz like
Yeah.
it's better than This Is Fine, but it's not as good as like the other games that I've put into great games on the list so far. So yeah, it'll go into the A tier in the great games, but
Natsuki Chronicles.
at the very bottom of it.
Great games. Well, awesome. That rounds us for the tier list section. A lot of great games, but also a couple of almost trash, which fits the theme of the not the episode but of the podcast. Like,
Oh yeah, it fits the show just fine.
Yeah, and we each brought one almost trash game, so we're pretty even.
All right, let's go ahead and move into hobby time. Okay, Max, you have the most on the hobby time section here, so why don't you go ahead and take the lead again?
Okay, yeah, I can knock too quick. So first, I was watching. I don't remember who, but I stumbled upon. Okay, I have a very short story. So I was playing Rig Dangerous, DOS game. Yeah, I was playing it on Commodore 64 actually because it came on all the computers. I was playing it on Commodore 64 and for the bingo for the 1989 Square, and I decided to look up some YouTube stuff, and there's like a big retrospective of that game with interviews from the guy who made Rick Dangerous in it, and it's pretty interesting. But that that guy had an intro that looked like an NES title screen. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. That would be great for Trav and his channel NES Friend. And I was like, well, why don't I make it? So I just went ahead and made a new intro for Trav because I was inspired. So it's a black background with like stars scrolling in the background, and there's the NES Friend logo moving up. It's flashing like an old title of an NES game, and I use exactly the same intro music that he has now, but now it goes up and there's three like game selection. There's reviews, let's beat, and let's play. And I did three variations of the intro where it selects a different type of videos depending on what the video is. So I sent that to Trav, and it was like, "Oh, that's great." And I was like, "Yeah, it's for you." I just decided to make that. So normally his next video should have his new intro, so I'm pretty excited
nice.
for
Cool.
everyone to see that. Yeah, just got inspired and did some video editing. And in exchange, I asked for a guest spot on Drunk Friend. So maybe I will be on Drunk Friend later in the year.
Cool.
Yeah,
It's a good deal.
yeah, I think that's fair. Some podcast exchange. And
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
I said I would knock two down. So speaking of
Yeah.
videos, so I'm making videos for Lotto Quebec, the branch of the government dealing with the lottery, and they they do a lot of streaming. I won't get into the details, but they have like a side of their mission that they have to do stuff about video games, basically. So they do a lot of streaming and they highlight everything on their channel, but now Twitch announced that they will remove all the highlights over 100 hour of highlights starting like in a month. So they're a bit in a panic because that's where all their archive is. So they asked if I could take a little contract to move all their stuff to their YouTube channel. So I started doing that. It's very easy. I just click on export and then edit the title and the description quickly. But since I'm now in the back end of their channel, I have access to my videos on their channel, and I started adding endless subtitles to all my paid content that I did for them because
Oh,
I think
nice.
they're really interesting, and I've shared them with you, but since it's all in French, it's not really like you don't get the full experience. So I've been adding
Right.
slowly some English subtitles. So I have like 4 videos done out of 7 or something like that. So I'm just doing that, and hopefully I will be able to share more videos with you in the future because I will now be able to not translate, but like add translated subtitles to everything.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. I know we've talked about it briefly before, but like my knowledge of French is extremely limited. While I can understand and read a little bit of it, I am nowhere near fluent enough to be able to fully understand a
Yeah, but
conversation
and
at
on
any.
top of that, I have a strong Quebec accent, and I
Uh,
speak fast in videos. So there's
yeah.
it's not a winning situation for anyone.
No. All
And you, Pam, do
right,
you have
Pam.
any French in you or the straight minimum?
I stopped taking French when it stopped being mandatory in school,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
shouldn't have done. I even I skipped grade 9 French. They're like, "You're good at this. You can go right to grade 10." And then I stopped after
Oh
that.
no.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I have a problem with I'm not very good with languages, and I try to learn multiple. I was like, "Well, this doesn't work. How about I try half-assedly to learn this one?" It's like, "Oh, that didn't work either. What about this one?"
Yeah. If you're not using it, like it doesn't,
Exactly.
it's not
Right.
worth a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and like I should have taken Spanish because there's a large Spanish community here in Kansas City, or Hispanic community here in Kansas City. Like Spanish would have actually been useful to me to be able to speak with people that I currently can't. French, there's no French community in Kansas City. Like that was completely pointless. Anyway, completely off topic. Pam, what would you like to talk about for your hobby time?
So I've just been rock climbing as I usually do. I don't know that I have anything particular to say about it, but yeah, I go rope climbing once a week, and then sometime toss in some bouldering there. So yesterday I was rock climbing, doing the combination of top rope and lead climbing with my friend. But yeah, I'm
And
trying to get better.
what level are you at now?
I depends on what it is. If I can do like 511 minuses on slab, and then I've just started getting 510s on overhang. So like overhang's not my forte because I'm weak, but I like slab because I have good balance and do better at trusting my feet than most people. So
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
That means nothing to me because I know nothing about rock climbing, but I'm sure somebody out there knows exactly what you're talking about and they're very excited right now.
Yeah, Caleb is like
Caleb
up
is
in the
there.
air.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting Caleb's his Kickstarter game
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
shipping out soon, so I'm super excited
I
to
love
try that.
I did back it too. I do a
Mhm.
bit of bouldering with my brother, and
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I love the new art style and everything. The cars look great.
Mhm.
The packaging look great. So pretty
Yeah.
excited to get it too.
Yeah. What do you like when in bouldering? Like, do you like slab or overhang? Do you have a particular?
Yeah, same. I have very poor. I'm not overhang. I don't trust my arms. I feel like I can fall at any time. So yeah, I prefer slab.
Yeah.
I prefer just tracking balance. I'm more. I still at the beginner levels. I'm starting to complete some V4s. So
Oh, wow.
not
That's
too bad,
higher than
but
me.
yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I did.
I'm also a guy, so I'm pretty. I don't want to lose. But yeah, I do that like twice a month, maybe something like that, and yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty fun.
Cool. Well, for me, I've just been doing more gardening. I pulled some of my my seedlings out of the like incubation chamber that I had them in where they were like initially growing and put them in actual pots, and it was nice enough, but I think we finally have our final frost now. Like we just got snow last Wednesday, a few days ago at the time of recording. But it'd been nice enough where I was able to bring some of the plants outside, at least during the day, and let them get some actual sunlight outside to be able to start acclimating them to the weather, and then bringing them back inside in the afternoon. A couple of them have died, like all the dill died,
Oh,
which like it happens. Like I'm not super worried about it. Like I can plant more or I go buy more. Like I'm still learning all of this stuff as I'm attempting to do it. But some of the pepper plants are doing fine. They're starting to grow. The oregano and basil are doing fine. And then like out front, all of my flower beds, I have cleaned out all of the old mulch and put down new mulch. All the old mulch and leaves and bullshit went into the compost pile. And yeah, I mean that's most of what my time has been non-gaming is dealing with the house and the yard and the plants in the garden. Oh, and there's a dog.
There's a
yeah,
dog.
dog.
I wish that I could do more gardening. I live in an apartment, so food
Yeah.
gardening. Sometimes I try to do herbs and things. I don't. Last year I managed to kill a mint plant, and I don't like
Oh,
that's
wow.
special.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Those
That's
are
like the
hard to kill.
tallest
You have to
plant
Yeah.
like not
around.
water
Yeah.
them.
yeah.
Wow.
But I do have plants inside that I've had for a couple. Well, some of them have been around for a couple years. So
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah. I like doing the gardening. I'm progressively getting better at it. The first year that I tried it several years ago, I got several plants and they started growing, and then around like late May into early July, they just all died. And I
Oh.
was
Oh
like,
no.
I don't know what the fuck happened. And so I've progressively gotten from everything's dead to I can actually like make things survive at least a little bit. So
Cool.
every year it gets better.
They,
And
they should
well,
make like Warhammers tournaments, but instead of plastic figurines, you're just bringing plants, and the healthier it is, the stronger it is. You would get really
uh
great really quick.
I used to keep bonsai at one point in
Oh,
time, and um
and you have
all
some.
of those eventually died also. But I had one bonsai tree that ended up living for like 2.5 or 3 years, and that would have been the strongest bonsai that I had.
Wow,
So
that's
this is
pretty
kind of
cool.
like an extension of that hobby, keeping plants alive. So
Nice.
Cool.
and
I
I
would
actually have
have
one more thing on
one
the
more thing
docket
on
here.
my hobby side. I've been doing some thumbnails because I have a big video. Like maybe not my biggest video, but my most ambitious video. It's all I finished editing it like last week. I just have to
Mhm.
pull the trigger and putting it live. But I want to anyway. I have some details I want to fix on my channel beforehand, but I've it's basically a challenge where we went, me and my brother, to every arcade in the city in a single day, and the video is just us going around and seeing where the arcades are still available and what we played, and it's pretty fun. And I did 3 variations for the thumbnail. The first one was like my main idea, where I have like a surprise face and there's a lot of colors around of different arcades, and I have a bunch of tiny arcades in my hand. The second one is I'm super tired, and I have like a map of all the arcade spots in the city in my hand, and the last one is just nothing other than the screen than just me tired and the background. And I think I'm getting. I tried to do it, do the thumbnails the most like YouTuber, the most YouTuber thumbnails that I've ever done.
Mhm.
Like I followed a tutorial where the guys was showing, yeah, so you can you what they do, like Mr. Beast and stuff, they actually remove wrinkles and stuff in the face and they add colors to the eyes, and I was like, oh, okay, that's how fake it is. I never really put much attention to that, and it's like, oh right, it does give like a bit more punch. So I followed that tutorial and I really pushed the envelope. So I have big hopes for this video. I did a lot. Everything I did is like the right things. I did like the big clickbaity
Mhm.
thumbnails. I think the idea is current and pretty cool. So I'm
Mhm.
pretty excited to see where this goes.
Nice.
And yeah, I don't know if you've seen I shared the thumbnails in the
Yeah.
Discord. So
I saw the ones you shared in the Discord. They do really look like YouTuber thumbnails.
yeah, yeah, that's what I was going for. That's not exactly what I like the
yeah.
most, but you have to go with what people want, and yeah, that's what make
Yeah.
clicks. So that's what I should
Mhm.
go on with. And speaking of arcades, yesterday I went to the like car salon in Quebec City, and they had like an arcade section. I went there because
Oh.
my bro was wrestling there. It's so weird. Though it's the car thing, and I went there for wrestling, and there was also arcades. and I played a game called Funny Car Driving. That was the title of the arcade, Funny Car Driving. Oh yeah,
Okay.
that was my that was just my side note. There was an arcade that the karting with the weirdest games
Okay.
out there.
Where does funny
Uh,
car driving go on the tier list?
Funny
yes,
Car
we must know.
Driving, it would go in almost trash. So it's like a
Oh.
Mario Kart, and you just go left and right. Basically, the cars run. It goes. They just drive by themselves, and you get some random attacks items, and you can activate them as soon as you get them. But there's really no strategy, and I lost the first two races to the computers in the last straight thing, the last straight path, just because they were going faster than me for no reason. And the second player, the driving wheel wasn't working, so it was pretty bad.
All right.
Yeah.
This video is in French, yes?
Yes, this video is in French, but I will try to put some subtitles before releasing it.
Okay.
So you guys can also enjoy it if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely put subtitles in it. I would like
Yeah,
to
but
watch it.
it's like 30 minutes, so it's a long
That
time
is,
to
yeah,
translate
that's a
stuff,
lot of
but
subtitles on.
yeah, but I will do it. I will do it. I think it's beneficial, especially because I get a bunch of friends that can watch it that
Right.
wouldn't usually. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Great hobby time. Let's move into loot box. And I have two YouTubers I want to shout out. First one is Kazro. They do videos primarily normally about history and very specifically about LGBTQ history from like the Victorian era into like the 40s and 50s. Um Interesting stuff, but then they also do a bunch they do not a bunch but some other history stuff about just general uh you know non LGBT topics. And this video is the unsettling truth about Nostradamus, which is a video where they're basically talking about Nostradamus, the real person, and his actual life, and then like how the like idea, the pop culture idea of his predictions are not in any way truthful to like the amount of predictions that that guy made in like all of his actual texts. Um Interesting video. Kazro's great. I've been watching their content for years. And
And that video, it doesn't link into LGBTQ. It's just about Nostradamus, right?
it's about the real person
Yeah.
Nostradamus. Not any of like not any conspiracy bullshit.
Okay.
Like Kaz focuses on like the real truthful history, not like the pop culture idea
Okay.
of what Nostradamus was.
Cool.
And then second video I wanted to shout out is Eurothug 4000. She's from somewhere in Eastern Europe. I don't remember where exactly. But she primarily talks about horror video games. And this is the weirdest haunted house video game to ever exist. This was about a Sega Saturn game, I think. I don't remember. I watched this like 2 weeks ago and was like, I
I
have
think it
to.
was a Dreamcast game. I've been following her forever, so I'm pretty sure it was Dreamcast.
Was it Dreamcast? Okay, it was Sega something.
Mm-hmm.
Good video. Eurothug's great. Check out her content. Really good gaming stuff.
Yeah,
Max?
I like hers.
Yeah. So, to continue the theme of the female women thing, we we want to shout out like female creator on YouTube, and we like to shout out like smaller YouTube channels, and sadly I just couldn't combine those two conditions for this episode. So my shout outs go to very big women on YouTube, but that's fine because I love their content, so whatever.
Yeah.
The first one is Fami. She's from Eastern Europe. I'm not sure where, but she has a thick accent, and she does stuff on old technology from the early 2000s. And well, usually her last video was running Crysis on a phone, and she's basically showing new Windows XP emulators, basically, that you can run on your phone nowadays. And she's pushing her new phone to play some Crysis and some other Windows games through the phone, and that's super interesting. And all her stuff is super interesting. She talks about like old weird remotes with screens on them and all stuff like that, and it's always super cool. She often films with her old VHS camera, and it really has its own vibe. I really
That's
like
cool.
what she's doing. So if you've never heard of her, it's great videos. It's not long videos. Usually it's like maybe 20 minutes, but it's always super interesting, and there's a lot of research and stuff. Exactly my kind of thing.
Cool. I'm gonna have to check that out because Crysis is that was really pushing Windows XP at the time. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
But
exactly.
can
So
it
now,
run Crysis?
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's a
I
that's kind of the basis of the
Yeah.
video. Like it used to be the meme, like can it run Crysis, and now you can
Right.
use like 3 levels of emulators to actually run it perfectly on a phone. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, when I bought my new PC at the end of last year, the first game that I played on it was Crysis Remastered.
Awesome. Wow. The meme lives on.
It does.
And my second shout out is Nerdforge. And once again, it's a girl, I think from Eastern Europe. Again, I'm not sure exactly where she's from.
I
She
think
also has
I think she's from Sweden.
okay, so exactly from Sweden, and her channel is all about making stuff. Like she works with wood, she works with 3D printers, she does paintings, she
He's
does
great.
everything. She has a lot of energy that's super refreshing. Like she doesn't feel like a YouTuber doing the YouTuber thing. She just has
Mhm.
her own personality through her videos, and it shows. And her last video was I built an entire fantasy street in my bookshelf, and the premise of the video is that she wants to put a 2-meter long fantasy street in her bookshelf as a kind of display that you can look into. And at
Mhm.
first I was like, okay, that's dumb. She's gonna put a hole through her her house so it just goes through the walls, but it's way more simple than that. She just followed the shape of her bookcase and put some mirrors so that the whole thing
Oh.
just goes around, and it's really like 2 meters long, but it just like it fits in her bookcase. And it's there are dozens of little sculptures that she did with foam, with 3D printing, and she painted everything herself. She built everything from scratch, and as usual, it looks incredible. The video is great because you see the whole progress. You know that's her that made everything, and yeah, I love that channel. Again, she has like millions of subscribers, but it's worth it. There's a reason why she's so popular. What she does is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. She's great. I've been watching her for years also. She's missing a finger, if you didn't know that.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. She has this whole video series. Yeah, it's a series of a few videos of like her trying to make like 3D print a prosthetic finger that like actually functions for herself.
Oh wow.
Pretty interesting stuff. And actually she talks about that with Adam Savage on his YouTube
Ooh.
channel like 8 months ago or so. She was on Adam Savage's channel. showing off some of her stuff, and one of them was about her 3D printed fingers. So
Very
Neat.
cool.
Pam, what about you? What do you got for us today?
So I have two channels to shout out that are on the smaller-ish side. The
Let's
first
go.
is Nocaps, and she makes chill videos about indie games. If you want to know what's coming out, she is always checking out new demos on Steam. She's goes through like the top games on her Steam wish list. She looks at some like deeper dives into games coming out. Her most recent one is 7 Gothic horror games that aren't Bloodborne, where she just talks about some games that, you know, they're not scary, but they're definitely horror games. I like those. They're very just relaxing, chill, or that they introduced me to games that I haven't heard about yet. So they're good.
That sounds really cool. We've shouted a couple channels that do like the same kind of format of videos, so that sounds really interesting.
So I just tried to go and find her on my phone, and that wasn't working because I type in no cap and it brings me to like a hip hop song. So like I was like, well, I have the link right in front of me. Let me just click on that. I do follow her on fucking YouTube. Like, yeah, she's good, real good.
Yeah. And then the second one is Pixel a Day, which are some more in-depth analysis of games, especially from a sort of psychological standpoint. She did one a number of months ago currently called "We're Celebrating the Wrong Indie Games," which blew up for her. Like it's got 150,000 views, but it's just about how a lot of the indie games people talk about are things like Dave the Diver, which isn't particularly indie, or Stray, and just games that are like fine, but like they're not the best of the indie games that are getting so celebrated. Recently she also made a video about how sublime Alan Wake 2 is, and I love Alan Wake. I did do some voiceover for one of her videos about Paradise Killer a while back, but I really enjoy her videos. They kind of come out sporadically when she feels like it, but I've always liked her takes on games.
Yeah, she's good too. That video you were talking about the we're celebrating the wrong indie games. I think I shouted that out on our first episode.
Oh,
yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
It was either our first or second episode. Yeah, she's good also. Good choices. I approve of everybody's choices today.
Yeah, let's go. Great list of people to listen to between our episodes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Always a lot of great content out there. That's why we like to shout out other great content. Like Pam from Cannot Be Tamed.
Hey.
Also great content on the internet. And that's gonna reach the end of our show. We don't have any emails today. I checked the email earlier.
No, we don't. But I'd like to steal the last email that Rob got on his Classic Gaming podcast. I thought the question was pretty interesting. So,
okay,
guys, what is your most expensive hobby?
Most expensive hobby?
Yeah, that was a question. I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Let's say maybe we forego the buying video games side of it.
Okay, so
I see all your figurines behind you, so I have an idea.
Probably Warhammer. So I've not actually done like a total price comparison between Warhammer and there's another hobby that I'm fairly heavily involved with that I have not talked about on the podcast at all, which is all of the, you can see right behind me, right above my finger right here. Those are all anime figures, but I painted those myself. Those are all resin figures.
Cool.
They're called garage kits, and they're called that because when the scene got started in the 80s in Japan, essentially what would happen was people were making resin casts and molding figures that they had made themselves in their garages, and that's how they got their name, Garage Kits. I have an entire shelf over here to my right
Wow.
of resin garage kits of different anime figures that I've not worked on yet. These things cost anywhere between like $100 to $500 a piece,
Mhm.
and I have a lot of them. But I also have 5 Warhammer armies, and
Yeah.
those things cost a lot of money too. So I'm not actually sure which one of those costs more. One of them definitely takes up more space, and that's Warhammer. But like I have individual figures that I paid like almost $600 for.
Oh,
Like it's a
wow.
little insane how much these things go for. I have one actually. I might take a picture of it and put it up on social media. But have either of you guys seen Cowboy Bebop,
Oh,
the anime? No. Okay.
I know
So
of it, but yeah.
Cowboy Bebop is like my favorite anime of all time.
Mhm.
I have a figure of one of the characters from Cowboy Bebop, Faye Valentine. And this figure is a prototype that never saw mass production. As far as I'm aware, I'm the only person who has this figure.
Nice.
Um, like you can't find it online
Mhm.
at all, and that's kind of the thing with a lot of these resin kits. Like I have another figure from Cowboy Bebop, the actual spaceship, the Bebop itself. As far as we've been able to find from like looking at the Internet Archive, because this thing was like a special release from a company. We, as far as we can tell, there were only 10 of them produced of
Wow.
this spaceship figure. Um,
And how
yeah.
did you
So
get a end of it? You bought it first hand or second hand?
I bought it secondhand off a Japanese website because
Okay.
most of these things you also have to buy in Japan because they're not made or sold in America. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so I have some really weird, obscure stuff like that that you're just not going to find anywhere that cost me quite a lot of money. Um, so yeah, I guess that would be my answer, but um, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in this room that cost me
yeah.
money that I don't know if I'm willing to fucking speak out loud about, other than outside of what I already have.
Okay.
So
So your room is what your most expensive hobby is.
yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Pam?
So I think my most expensive hobby right now is food. And I understand that's something you need to live as opposed to a hobby, but I like going to nice restaurants. I like doing chef's tasting
Mhm.
menus. I, have nothing to show for it now, but
Yeah,
I like going to nice places.
if you had
That's
something to
fair.
show for it, I didn't want to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
it. That's a good answer.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah.
I I think my most expensive hobby. Well, like in my 20s, I was pretty responsible. So I think my most expensive hobby was like Magic the Gathering, and even that was like maybe $300 over a couple of years. Like nothing
Oh,
crazy. But
that's nothing in Magic the
yeah,
Gathering.
I
I
know.
could have spent
And
$300 in a day on Magic. That's
I
easy.
know.
That's like a
Oh no.
box.
I was very frugal in my 20s. I didn't like spending any money. But like in the last few years, I bought a lot of stuff to do some card making and board game making. So I bought like 2 different printers, 3 different paper cutters, like 20 different types of papers in the last few months too. So I think my board game making stuff is my most expensive hobby in the at least in my recent memory. And even that, it's not too bad. I spend also a lot for YouTube. Like I made 2 computers. I bought an iPhone for that. I bought like several cameras and
Mhm.
green screens and lights and tripods. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
double between YouTube and like board game making.
Nice.
Cool.
But I
Well.
think it's a lot less than your different figurines.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Pam, you are now aware of how expensive Warhammer can be. So
I am. I saw how much Dylan has to paint. Yeah.
yeah, and he's only collecting one army, right?
Well, he has the actual Space Marine guys, and now he's got that gross guy that he just what's his name again? The
Mortarian.
Primarchs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and he got some of the Christmas ones. So
Yeah, so you're seeing how expensive how expensive that can get. I have 5 of those.
yeah.
And you can see 4 of them behind me.
Yeah.
And one of them is in a box because it's the army that I'm currently playing. I guess I technically have 6, and I have parts of 2 more. So
Ouch.
I might be a little deep into that.
Yeah. For how long have you been doing Warhammer?
Let's see. I started playing Warhammer in 2019.
Oh.
So yeah, so 5 years ish.
Well, one army a year. It's not too bad.
Yeah. We'll say it was one army a year.
Awesome.
It definitely wasn't, but a lot of my Magic the Gathering cards got sold to fund the Warhammer, at least at the start.
Yeah.
So there was that. I mean, I played Magic for 12 years.
Yeah.
At a competitive level, like traveling to
Okay.
play Magic.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so that collection was worth quite a bit of money, and it's all gone at this point. I don't have any Magic. I have a few Magic cards left. I have a couple of decks left, but all of like the actual collection is gone at this point.
I will bring one to Polycon. We should at least do one match.
Okay. Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right.
I'll find out what format you play and all that. We'll talk about it.
All right. We'll find something.
Yeah, for sure.
But that brings us to the end of the show, right?
Yeah, it's the end of the show. We've been going a little long at this point. We've been going a little long at this point. Pam, sorry for keeping you for so long, but we're gonna do the outro now.
Sure. I mean I've seen the other episodes and how long they are, so this is not unexpected.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah, we tend to go on long, but
yeah,
we have a lot of sections and stuff.
Yeah, we can be a little long-winded, and that's all right. But if you have any questions, comments, or topics of discussion you would like us to talk about, you can email us at thetrashstationpodcast@gmail.com. It's not the Trash Station Podcast. It's thetrashstation@gmail.com.
Yeah.
No podcast in that. There's podcast in some of the other things, but not the email address.
You can find you can find us. Yeah, you're listening to us. You can find us.
Yeah.
All right, and we would also like to thank Heath Aldridge for our intro and outro music. You can find a link to all his music on his Bandcamp page at heathaldridge.bandcamp.com. And we would also like to I give it to you. Continue.
Okay, we would also like to thank Rainbow Savvy Designs for our logo. Links to both of their works will be available in the show notes. And you can find the show on social media at The Trash Station. Goddamn. I'm burping over here. That beer's getting to me, I guess.
I thought you were getting emotional for no reason.
No, I'm getting gassy. But you can find the show at the trash station mostly on Blue Sky these days. And you can find me on social media. I'm at Scotch and Hobbies on platforms. Nobody else has that name except for me. And you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Scotch and Hobbies. I usually stream on Mondays and Wednesdays around 5 or 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm playing whatever I fucking feel like playing.
Yeah. And if you want to play some of my games, you can check my itch.io page at itch.io/Potomax. Otherwise, you can see what I'm currently playing on Blue Sky at Potomax. And if you speak French, or if I have some subtitles up, you can see all my videos on the good old YouTube at youtube.com/Jeubière. And you, Pam, do you have anything you want to shout out before we sign off?
Sure. If you want to see my videos or my Twitch streams, you can find me at Cannot Be Tamed on YouTube or Twitch. You can find my podcast, Point and Drink Adventure, also on YouTube, where we do video podcasts. And if you want to find me on Blue Sky, I have a different name. It's Pam D, because I got to just take my name.
Yeah,
Nice.
let's go. All right.
Excellent.
Thank you all. See
Pam,
you
thanks so
in
much
2
for
weeks.
joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks for
Pam. It
having
was
me.
really fun.
It was fun.
And we will see you guys next time.